I'm not going to use the microphone, so y'all better not be loud. I can't talk. All right. Today, guys, we're going to read a story. I'm going to read you a story. It's called Speak Up, Tommy. Okay? So this story is about Tommy, who just moved to America from Israel. Do you know where Israel is?
No. Far.
No. It is far. Ben, where do you think it is?
I don't know where Israel is.
It's in Asia. It's super far away. Okay? And because he moved from so far away, he doesn't speak English very well yet. He doesn't know it very well. They speak Hebrew in Israel, so that's what he is used to speaking. But a lot of people here don't really speak Hebrew. Yes, Peyton?
How does Hebrew speak?
I don't know. I don't speak Hebrew, so I can't tell you. So maybe one day you'll meet somebody who speaks Hebrew, and then you can. So he's embarrassed to speak English in front of his new classmates because he doesn't think he speaks it very well. Yes. Yeah, Corey?
Maybe this book will have some Hebrew in it.
Maybe it will. I guess we will see. Okay. I know firsthand just how hard it is moving to a new school and having to talk and learn your new classmates. Does anybody else have had that happen? Have you had to move to a new school?
No.
Yes?
No.
A lot of us. Yeah.
I have not.
You have not?
Because I've been here for 4, 3.
Yeah. All right. How would you feel? How would you feel if you moved to a school where nobody spoke the same language as you? How would you feel, Cora?
I would feel really sad.
Really sad? How would you feel, Bailey?
Lonely.
Lonely? That's it. Yeah, I would probably feel lonely. What about you, Corbin? Depressed? Yeah, upset. I think it would make me upset. And I would feel really lonely, like Bailey said, if I couldn't talk to anybody. So today, we're going to see how Tommy felt when this situation happened to him. When we're reading our text, we're going to focus on what the text tells us about our characters and how they're feeling. And we're going to look for evidence from the story that lets us know this and how we can tell. Okay, guys? All right. So before we start reading, there's a few vocabulary words we need to make sure that we know. That's in our story. So on page 3, it tells us that Tommy was puzzled. Do you know what puzzled means? Leslie?
Like surprised?
Not really surprised, more like confused. So he didn't understand, right? So that's telling us how he feels, right? If he was puzzled, he didn't understand what was happening. So he was confused, right? Another one, over here it says that one of his classmates, Josh, imitated their teacher. Do you know what imitate means? Do you know what imitate means, Corbin? No.
I just had.
It's okay. All right, imitate means to like mock or copy. So if I am imitating somebody else, I'm kind of like, oh, they said this and this and this. So Josh is teasing Tommy here about what their teacher always tells him. So he's probably making Tommy feel not so good, making him feel bad. Right? So there's one last word in here, and it's that I think that we need to know, and it's commotion. So a commotion happens at one point in our book. Do you know what a commotion is? Bailey, what's a commotion?
It means like lots of stuff happening.
Lots of stuff is happening. It's loud. It's disruptive. Do you guys ever cause a commotion?
No.
No,
My
never.
sister does.
I don't know about that. I think you guys can sometimes cause commotions. I think you guys can be loud sometimes and disruptive. No. All right. So we're gonna look through some of our pages, and I want you guys to think about what you think is gonna happen in our story. Okay? Let's see. So this is Tommy. You see Tommy here. Does he look happy or sad?
Sad.
It's far away. I don't know. See. Here's Tommy over here. By himself. People. Let's skip a few. We're just looking through some of the pictures right now, like how we take picture walks when we're doing our guided reading books.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. So what do you guys think, looking at the pictures? What do you think? Ben, what do you think is going to happen in our story? He does look sad. Leslie, what do you think is going to happen?
It looks like he's being bullied.
He might.
One of them said in a textbook.
Yeah, they did say that. Yeah, I think that. So we're going to read our story and figure out what happens to Tommy and if Tommy feels sad. And remember to look for how the characters feel and the words that our story tells us to let us know how our characters feel, okay? All right. This is Speak Up, Tommy by Jacqueline Dunbar Green, and it's illustrated by Deborah Melman. What does the illustrator do? Cadence, what does the illustrator do?
It tells you it's the words in the
Not the illustrator. The illustrator draws the picture. Yep, the other one. The other one is the author. All right. Okay. So speak up, Tommy. Tommy stayed by himself at recess, tossing a tennis ball against the school building. So you see Tommy all the way over here, all by himself. You see him all by himself. He's all alone. Do you know how to play football? Charlie asked. We're going to throw some passes. Tommy was puzzled. A football isn't to throw, he said. A football is to kick. Charlie laughed. That's soccer, he exclaimed. Tommy was confused. When he lived in Israel, his football was round. You kicked it down the field into the goal. I don't know this American football game, he mumbled. Speak up, Tommy, teased Josh, imitating their teacher. Charlie and Josh punched each other's arms and snickered. You talk funny, said Charlie. Then they ran off. Tommy's face grew hot. Why had he spoken English? The kids always teased him when he did. English words were hard to pronounce. In America, even his name had changed. In Israel, his name was Tomer, which means palm tree. He always stood taller when someone spoke his name. Now it was easier to be Tommy. All right, so we're going to pause and think, how did Tommy feel on this page? I think
embarrassed.
He felt embarrassed and sad. And I know, so I'm going to write over here that Tommy is feeling embarrassed, and upset. And I know because it says that his face grew hot, and when our face grows hot, like we're upset, we're embarrassed to be around everybody because we think that we made a mistake. So the text tells me that his face grew hot. And that all the kids always teased him. And I think that would make me upset. If kids were always teasing me, if the people in my class teased me all the time, that would make me upset. So that I know because the text tells me that his face grew hot and kids teased him. Kids teased him. Yes, Cadence.
I think I know why he's puzzled because, far away from here, football means soccer, but here's football.
Exactly. Yeah. So the football that he's used to isn't what we think of as football, right?
Yeah.
All right.
But what he calls football is
It's soccer. So what he thinks football is what we think soccer is. Yes, honey?
Well, in Teen Titans Go through the episode when we said football instead of soccer with the Teen Titans, and guess what happened? They think about the actual game instead of the actual thing that they meant.
Yeah.
Soccer game.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So actually it's different.
Yeah, it is different. All right. When it was time for reading circle, Tommy shrank down in his chair, trying to become invisible. Miss Anderson called on him. Would you begin, please, Tommy? There was nothing Tommy hated more than reading out loud, except having to read first. The words on the page swam in front of his eyes. Did the words really swim?
No.
No? So is that an example of a literal or a non-literal word? Non-literal. Words can't swim. You can swim, but words can't swim, right? Her name isn't words though, Max. The R sound rolled and trilled as he read. Ron likes to run, he whispered. Ron races along. Speak up, Tommy, said Miss Anderson. We can barely hear you. Some students giggled. Miss Anderson gave them a stern look. Tommy's still learning English, and it's difficult at first. In this class, we're a team, so let's cheer him on. She smiled at Tommy. You're doing fine, but do speak up. Tommy shook his head. He wouldn't speak English in school again. So, we see how mad Tommy looks and upset in this picture?
Yes. When you're mad.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna think about how he feels now. I think he feels mad now, and I can tell because he looks mad in the picture, and he shook his head, is what the text tells me, right? So when you shake your head, are you excited to do something? If I'm like, let's go outside and play, and you go, do you want to go outside and play? No. So if he shook his head, he wasn't excited to do it, and he was upset about it. See? We can see that he's upset. So here, our pictures help us tell what's going on in the story, right? So pictures can also be evidence as to what's happening, okay? So we're gonna write. So Tommy is feeling mad. Tommy is feeling mad. And why did we say Tommy was feeling mad? How do we know?
Because he had to read.
Because he had to read?
In front of the whole class.
Yep. We know because the picture shows us he's mad, right? Does he look happy in this picture?
No.
No. Because the picture shows us and he shook his head. So if you're shaking your head, you're not excited and not happy, right? Yeah, but that's nodding. This is shaking. Nodding, shaking. And he shook his head. All right. I hope that Tommy feels better by the end of the story. I don't like seeing him so sad. After reading circle, Miss Anderson gave Tommy a worksheet for tracing letters. They didn't look anything like Hebrew letters. He named each new letter in his head as he traced its shape. A, B, C. If only they looked more like Aleph, Bet, and Gimel. Those are the letters in the Hebrew alphabet. They look like this, right here. That's a lot different than how we write letters, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. You're tracing letters? Josh asked. We did that in kindergarten. Tommy was glad when a knock on the door interrupted the teasing. All right, so here we see that Tommy is telling Josh that what he's doing, tracing letters, is something they did in kindergarten. How do you think that this makes Tommy feel?
Sad.
How do you know? I want you guys to turn and talk to the people at your table and talk about how Tommy feels now and how you know that he feels that way, right? So talk to each other at the table.
He feels sad and embarrassed. Embarrassed.
He's the only one who sees the different ways of Jesus to like us. That was really good, but that's what they did.
All right. Everybody quiet, listening? That was fast, guys. Good job. All right. Annabelle, what does your table think how does your table think Tommy feels right now? Sad. How do you know? We can see it. Are there any words in the text that tell us that Tommy might be sad? What do you think, Colton?
Because kid teased him.
Yeah, he did tease him.
And also he said that he thinks that Tommy was in kindergarten.
Yeah. So sometimes things that are easy for us aren't easy for other people, or other people are still learning how to do things that we might already know. But that doesn't mean that we should tease them about it, right?
No.
All right.
I don't like teasing. Well, I do it funny.
All right. Ready? Colton.
I kind of like.
As you know, we've been learning about our town, Miss Anderson said, and today we have special visitors from the police department. The class had visited the town hall, the post office, and the fire station. Tommy liked field trips because he got to listen and didn't have to speak a word. All right. So how is Tommy feeling now? Can you guys see Tommy? You see Tommy?
No.
No? Tommy's right here.
Smiling.
He's smiling, right? See? I'm gonna walk around to you guys so you can see it. See Tommy?
So he can understand.
Right here. He can understand English, he just doesn't speak it very well. So he knows English, it's just hard for him to say the English words. Alright? So, how do you think that Tommy feels now? Cecily?
Like happy because he said that he didn't have to speak the word.
Exactly. He doesn't have to speak. So he's not worried anymore. He's not going to embarrass himself if he doesn't have to speak, right?
Yes.
Alright. Tommy's eyes opened wide. Can you open your eyes wide? The yellow lab looked just like his dog Sabra, and who had to stay in Israel when his family moved. His grandparents were taking good care of her, but Tommy missed his dog every day. Sit, commanded Officer Sweeney. He pushed down on Samson's rump. When Samson was a puppy, he was chosen to become a special police dog, the officer explained. He can smell things that people can't. My dog can smell a pizza box in a trash can, said Charlie. Officer Sweeney grinned. Not only can Samson smell food, but he's trained to smell things that could hurt people. Like a bomb. Mm-hmm. We have police dogs that can help sniff things out here, don't we? Right. Tommy gasped. In Israel, police and dog teams help to keep people safe. Samson must be one of those dogs. I think that this is a picture of Tommy remembering what it was like in Israel. Because we see the letters on this bus. Are those in English? No, that's not English, right?
What do you see that?
It's all the way over here. Here, we'll see. Ready? See the letters on the bus? That's not English.
Yeah, because when I looked at the thing, it's in the white thing of English weather.
Yeah, it's not. You're right. It's not in English letters. Right.
It's in his weather.
Yep, in Hebrew. Yep. All right. Police dogs work hard, said Officer Sweeney. If Samson finds something suspicious, I reward him with a toy. He especially loves balls. Tommy fingered the tennis ball in his pocket, and suddenly Samson saw it and started to bark. Officer Sweeney whispered in the dog's ear, but Samson just gave him a puzzled look and kept barking. Quiet, said the officer. So the dog was, what? What do we say puzzled mean? Confused. Good job. I think more confused than surprised. All right. Without warning, Samson pulled free and ran to Tommy, pawing at his pocket. The students laughed, and Tommy was glad that for once they weren't laughing at him. Miss Anderson rang her bell for silence. Tommy looks happier now, doesn't he? Mm-hmm. Yep. With all the commotion, Tommy forgot that he didn't want to speak English out loud. In fact, he forgot to speak English at all. He could only think in Hebrew. Shaket, he blurted out. Instantly, Samson stopped barking. He looked expectantly at Tommy. That's it, Officer Sweeney exclaimed. That's the Hebrew word for quiet. I've been trying to say that, but Samson doesn't understand me. See? The Hebrew word for quiet is shaket. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Shaket.
That sounds like skeleton, wait.
Maybe. The students looked at the police dog sitting quietly at Tommy's feet. Where did you learn to speak Hebrew? Officer Sweeney asked. I'm from Israel, Tommy explained. I speak Hebrew lots better than English. Officer Sweeney didn't laugh, and this time Charlie and Josh didn't laugh either. Officer Sweeney scratched his head. Samson was trained in Israel. I have a list of Hebrew commands, but when I try to say them, Samson ignores me, he chuckled. And he doesn't understand a word of English. Miss Anderson arched her eyebrows. I think you need to practice your Hebrew, she said. The officer put his arm around Tommy's shoulder. We could be a team, he said. If you help me speak Hebrew, I'll help you with English. Neat, Charlie exclaimed. Tommy's going to train a police dog. Josh looked interested. Maybe you could teach us Hebrew too, he asked. Tommy found his voice. Sure, he said, if you teach me to play American football. It's a deal, Josh agreed. So, how is Tommy feeling now? Happy. How are his classmates feeling? Are his classmates being mean anymore? No. They're all happy. How does the officer feel? Happy. Everybody's happy. Yes, Hunter.
And plus that police officer got told by the teacher by saying, you need to practice your Hebrew.
He did. He got told by the teacher, didn't he?
Yeah, he got blown.
All right, so what are some words that we read on this page that let us know that everybody's happy? Cora?
Can you read like the last part?
Mm-hmm. So I'll read this page again. The officer put his arm around Tommy's shoulder. "We could be a team," he said. "If you help me speak Hebrew, I'll help you with English." "Neat," Charlie exclaimed. "Tommy's going to train a police dog." Josh looked interested. "Maybe you can teach us Hebrew too," he added. Hear anything there that lets us know how the other characters are feeling? Corbin?
They all got happy because they got a deal.
They made a deal. And it says Josh looked interested. So that's telling us how he feels, right? He's interested. Yes, Cor?
Oh, I was just about to say what you said.
Oh, I'm sorry. I took your answer. All right.
Wait till they fall off.
It's okay. All right. Tommy held up the tennis ball. "Chev," he commanded to Samson. "Sit." The dog sat still as Tommy tossed the ball to Charlie. Then Charlie hid it inside his desk. "Tavi," Tommy said, "fetch." Samson trotted directly to the spot where the ball was hidden and brought it to Tommy. Tommy tossed it high in the air. To Foss, he commanded, "Catch." The dog caught the ball in midair and dropped it at Tommy's feet. I don't know how to say this next part, but whatever Tommy said is right here, and then it says he praised him. And then he spoke up loud and clear, "Good dog." So whatever he said means good dog in English. I think it's Kalev Tov, but I don't know if that's right. Right? The end.
Yeah, because we don't speak
We don't speak Hebrew.
I speak Spain.
All right. So how did Tommy's feelings change throughout the story? Ben, how did they change?
Sad to happy.
Sad to happy? Why did they go from sad to happy?
Because people were being bullied
Yeah, in the beginning.
in the beginning, and then at the end, everyone got happy because they made deals.
They made deals. What else? Did you think of anything else, Nestle?
Like he was like in the one when he said when that Josh, he said that you're like writing letters. It's like the same thing as Benson. And like his face was like a little red, like around his cheeks, so like a little embarrassed.
Yeah. Do you think that Tommy and his classmates will get along better now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you think that?
Because he's cool now by knowing how to speak Hebrew.
Yeah.
By getting to train a
Exactly.
police dog.
Do you think, Bailey, you said that Tommy probably felt lonely, that you would feel lonely. Do you think that Tommy feels lonely now?
No.
No, I don't think so either. Why do you think that Tommy isn't lonely anymore?
Because he has friends.
He has friends, and everybody likes him, like Hunter said. So, now, what we're going to do, yes?
Also, the police dog, I also found out something. Also, the police dog kind of looks like his dog.
It does kind of look like his dog. So I think it reminds him of home.
Or maybe that is his dog.
I don't know. It said that Samson was trained in Israel, but Tommy had to leave his dog in Israel to stay with his grandparents. They couldn't bring her with them to the United States.
Or maybe.
All right. So what we're gonna do? Quiet. We're gonna fill out the same kind of chart that I have up on the board. All right. So the thing that has the word, right? So we're gonna talk. So we talked a lot about our characters' feelings and how they feel in the story, right? And everything that we said that they felt, we had to find examples in the text of how we know this. Okay? So what we're gonna do is, you guys, there's 4 spots on your papers. 4 spots. And I'll make a deal with you. You can use one of the examples that I provided up here. You can use one of the ones I wrote down. Okay? So, but I need you to come up with the other 3 on your own. We're gonna practice writing them, okay? And you can use the ones that you talked about with your neighbor when you turned and talked about how Tommy and everybody was feeling. You can use that one, or you can think of another one. All right? Everybody understand? Yes? Good. All right, go.
I'm using the book.
We're writing examples from the story of how our characters felt and how we know how they feel.
How many?
Just 4. So you can pick one of mine and then 3 other ones. Okay? Oh, come on. Yes. My name is Cassandra. ones, because I gave you 2 examples. Okay. One, so either the dark blue or the blue, and then take 3 difference. Right. What's up? Can you write for me? Yeah, you're right. How was it doing? Just like that. Think about how the characters in the story go. How the characters go. Yeah.
I don't know what.
I love how quiet you guys are working. You're doing a great job. Okay, and then you're going to give examples. Perfect, Brandon.
Do I do like all 4 of these? Like all of them?
Yeah. So, because this is the example I gave, right? So that's the way to. So find you. Give me 2 more examples, and we'll see what else we can figure out. Okay? Yes.
I was going like do we do like what these two then at the end happy then extremely happy.
And then you will give me evidence to prove good.